I'm Archie, Archie McLean. I started as the media man, and in our first rally in Scotland, I basically saw I don't even call it an opportunity, or I don't even know what really happened. I just saw somewhere that the team needed help, so I jumped in to help. And from there, I've basically just been mechanicking on the car, and then following Ryan, essentially trying to piggyback off his learnings on a lot of the stuff with the ECU and the actual understanding the electronics around the car, which I'm still definitely learning. And then from that, I managed to get a placement with M Sport in the engine shop, and that then took my understanding of engines and powertrains into a completely new level, and understanding all the electronic components around engines and how much control you can actually get on essentially your engine by understanding the ins and outs of all your like PID control, that sort of stuff. And I've just finished that placement, and now I'm back as a fourth year to finish my degree with Harper. Yeah, that's pretty much me, and I suppose a lot of me is linked to following you and your dissertation.
Okay. How so? What are you following?
I suppose your dissertation and basically the fact that you were engineering the car gave me interest.
Okay.
And that interest, and also because you were quite good at explaining things that you would literally just learned. So I could come along with you essentially on that journey, which was good. And your testing is also really interesting as well, and quite exciting to mechanic on at the same time.
That's quite cool, isn't it?
It was great fun. Especially having the facilities there was wicked cool.
Now you work there.
Yeah.
Or did.
How would you sum up your position with EDSL?
Quite varied.
Okay.
I'd say.
Elaborate.
So, at the moment, it's more to do with operational development stuff. So, looking at creating and implementing stock management system. So
what sort of systems are you putting in place? Are you creating new areas as well as ways for the rest of the team to be able to access it and take it on board? Are you bringing them with you?
So we're a really small team. And as resources, there's a lot that we all need to cover between us all. So really it's about trying to make things more efficient for all of us and put less workload on ourselves. So we've got a lot of different customers, a lot of different cars, very varied jobs, and it's really quite difficult to be able to plan what jobs we're going to be doing when. It's not like we're running one set of car that we know what parts we're going to need every single time. You know, it's not a recurring thing. So it's about being able to understand when a customer requests work, you know, what capacity do we currently have, and when can we fit it in, what are we going to need, the process of when the car comes in, you know, we can make that a bit more efficient as to what do we do first to give us the knowledge that we need to be able to get all the parts in time for when it needs to go out again, for example, rather than coming to it only when we're going to work on it, for example, and then not having parts in place. Things like that. Be able to keep more accurate traceability of parts and, you know, invoicing the customers and things like that.
And where did your basis understanding of the systems come from? Was that something you learned at Harper, or something that you picked up with Running the Right Way, or was that something you sort of built yourself?
I think it's a cumulative thing. So started with Harper, probably the engineering design module, actually in second year. Started with that, like not having any process in place, and it all just going a bit wrong because nothing is, you know, planned or properly. And then going on to my placement, where I started, and you just had it all drummed into you with the engineering design about, you know, having a fully fill out PDS and understand exactly what your requirements are and what needs to be done. And then to go into placement and have, you're taking over this project that's half finished, and the chap that's currently got all the information about it is leaving in 2 weeks. I said, okay, can I see the PDS? It's like, what's that? Okay. Turns out that that lad was the only person who knew anything about anything to do with that project.
That's quite
So
a
it's
challenge.
a case of having to get turned his head turned upside down and shape all the information into, you know, into PDS and get that written down and take that on. And there's various other different ways in which they were working at the time, because the design engineering side of that business was quite new.
Mm.
So they were very, very well established in parts and servicing, but not for actually designing bespoke parts and you know, overhauls. So they were very much in their learning phase, and it was like, well, there's so much that we're doing that is inefficient here.
Mm.
And at the time, I could identify it, but I didn't know how to solve it.
Yeah.
Or I could think of a way of improving it, but I didn't have the skills or the respect to actually implement any change. Some things I did. Some things I introduced different ways of managing the parts that we were looking at there, like the jobs that we had to do, managing that, and various different design processes. But overall, it's really quite hard to make a change in a small business, especially when people have been doing it for a long time. But yeah, I often felt that I could see a problem and know it needed changing and have some rough idea of what needs, but no idea how to make the change and then how to control it.
Yeah, I get that.
So then, really, that's what the final years at uni gave me, was an understanding of actually how to first go about convincing in a respectful way that change is needed.
Yeah.
And then
Trying to bring them with you, I suppose.
yeah, bring them with me, and you know, almost make it seem like it's their idea, and yeah, please.
That's a fantastic leadership skill though as well. So
Yeah,
that's a big
yeah.
credit to you.
Because if you go in somewhere and just go, well, this is rubbish, that's rubbish, moan about this, moan about that,
It's not helpful, is it, really?
nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
You know, if you go in with a mindset of, okay, well, actually, if you talk to people involved that are actually using the process, or non-existent process, for example, or what actually would help you, what are you seeing? You know, and then it gives you a more. It makes people feel like you're on their side, rather than coming in and just trying to change everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's helping at the moment with what I'm doing. Really, it's just sort of understanding how to go about making those changes.
Do you think because obviously I'm coming back into my final year now.
Yeah.
And I seem to have noticed in myself a completely, not different, but a slightly different angle on how I'm now looking at uni and life after placement. Do you think that you had a similar experience as well? Or?
Yeah, I think so. The biggest shock for me, I think, was all through, you know, your academic studies, you're taught exactly how things should be done.
Yeah.
So then you go out in the real world and you realise actually nothing was really done the way it should be.
Yeah.
That's
And everything's rushed.
and then you go back into your final years and you start approaching things as, well, actually, yes, whilst that should be the way it's going to be done, actually it's not, and I need to go out and just get it done for myself, or approach it in a different way.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think a lot of what I've learned on my placement, and to a degree in running the right way, I think probably you've had also this too, is like suddenly, because you get such an exposure to so much information, like if you look at life racing, for example, like the first time you see it, you're a bit like, oh my god, that's a lot of information and a lot of things I don't understand yet. And actually, the more exposure you get, for example, when we were doing your testing, I remember sitting down and we had a boost controls issue, which actually turned to be the vacuum lines was on the wrong way.
Yeah.
We're going to gloss over that. But like looking down at that with you, I think it was my first time actually looking at life racing in detail. And now actually, if I compare what I've learned coming back off placement, so then what we were trying to work out, now it's just like night and day difference. I understand not just what the lines mean, but the shapes that you're looking for and some of the issues that we've had, and that sort of exposure to problems and issues, giving us experience to solve new issues, and I guess to a degree issues we don't understand, but because we understand other issues around it, you can start piecing together. I know you've definitely had that with EDSL's cars.
Yeah. Constant. And you're able to put context to what you're looking at as well. From I suppose you'll do more testing and be able to actually, if you're going out and more getting baselines for understanding how that system should be operating. It's all well and good being able to see all the lines and all the data, but if you don't actually know what it should be showing you, what you should be looking for, it's not really any use to you, is it?
Yeah, to be fair, and the whole understanding how everything, I mean, my brain's obviously a bit more powertrains and the chassis side I'm definitely not so good at, whereas I know you're, especially from your testing as well, you're so clued up on the chassis side, and that's something I definitely need to start learning. But yeah, as you said, the linking all the way through is like I remember doing some stuff in touring car with like gear cuts and how you had to, because that was very different in the sense that you were running the powertrain, but you also had to work with the team engineer on all the chassis stuff, and having to understand, even though obviously you're technically not there to help run the car, to help the chassis side, having to understand all like how the gear cuts link in to the engine management system and all that sort of stuff, because then you can help come to a solution with the team, which is similar, I suppose, to all the chassis aspects. I got a bit sidetracked there.
No. Well, sort of going back to that, working with other people and understanding how to manage people and things like that, that's what I really learned from RTWW, was you really need to have respect for everybody. Everyone has their own skill set. You know, I've seen people before where they have a lot of confidence, but they don't have the maturity to understand that they don't know everything. And whilst they may be very competent in one area, someone else is very competent in a different one.
I was thinking about this actually earlier today, and I was thinking actually it's such a blessing, I suppose, in a way, that our team is so diverse, and how you have people from so many different skill set backgrounds. Because like I myself know I'm not the greatest like machinist and at building things, but I know that we have people in our team who are, and then you can start working together and really exploiting that team aspect. So then, let's say like, I don't know, you were trying, first time I modified the rear hubs, for example, I basically had no idea what I was doing. But it was someone that did, and then that gives you a skill and you can come to a desired outcome, which is beneficial for everyone in the team, and then you get a big learning experience out of it too. And I think it also allows you to then take on things that you may not have looked at, because you think, oh god, that's too much work, I've never done that before, sort of thing. Actually, it gives you that, all right, hang on, but I've got people that I know who can do this and can talk to me about how to do it and teach me if I'm lost or get stuck. So you can essentially, maybe risks the wrong word, but you can almost take a leap of faith, that's the word I'm looking for, and go out and try something and know that you can try and fail, but it's not the end of the world because you have people you can fall back on. I guess that's probably one of the...
I think Charlie's really good for that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, if you make a mistake or something, he might go, okay. And then he'll tell you how to fix it, and it is what it is.
Or ask you really good about it.
Yeah, and he'll try and make you think why you did it that way. But you're not afraid to have a go and make a mistake.
It's a big credit to him as well. I always think, well, how would you feel if you basically it's half a team of people who are completely new and never worked on a rally car, but yet you're going to go and drive the nuts.
Yeah, it takes a lot of
fake
trust. Yeah.
Do you reckon you could do that and feel relaxed? That's quite a hard one.
Yeah.
Be fun though.
The other thing about what I was talking to you about earlier, from when you were talking about what you'd learn over placement, the fact that now, when you all start, you might have that's your skill set, and that's their person's skill set, and now you're starting to bridge.
Broad out your understanding.
Which I think is going to be very helpful, but also present a bit of an interesting learning challenge when you're out on events. If you do need to stick to you need to focus on your roles, it could be quite tempting to
almost to turn down between your skill sets. I get that.
Flip between them and cause a bit of confusion. But
But
quite interesting.
Yeah,
how that
definitely.
dynamic will play out.
And I know me and Elliot used to have. It was actually probably a real. I've already said blessing once today. I'm trying to think of another word. Gift. Oh, look at me go A-star. It was a real gift to be on placement with Elliot, because both of us were so keen in what we're doing and love it so much. But any time that one of us didn't get the right answer, or like we'd be chatting about stuff over dinner, and it could be something like tiny, but it'd be basic understanding of like running life racing and what curve could potentially be an issue and what lambda do you run at, all that sort of stuff. We were getting to really in-depth conversations of like the understanding of what we know is right, but more so about why it's right. And you'd have sometimes you'd have different views, and you'd end up having a discussion about what's actually the correct one. Mm-hmm. And then for right or wrong to, like, sometimes you would end up going, oh Christ, actually, I may have got to the correct answer, but actually that wasn't the right basis of understanding. Mm-hmm. Actually, through this conversation, I've learned more. It's not just a number, it's a number because of this and because of this. Yeah. And it's not just word of mouth. We've actually, I don't know, chatted about it and we come to it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really valuable, because obviously when I was doing engineering, I come at it from no experience, and it was a lot of case of, well, I think this is right based on my understanding of this and this and this. I think this is right, but without any real like confirmation that actually that is how things should be run. And so like you'll now have that having gone on.
And it's those discussions I think are so powerful, because even if you both don't fully understand what you're talking about, you can pinch bits of the conversation together and grab them to make essentially your jigsaw puzzle complete. Because you can go, I understand this part and he understands that part. Mm-hmm. If we take out the bits that we don't understand, then we can come to a conclusion and a full understanding. I think that's really important. And then it also helps to, I think also once you then have that understanding, you can then teach it as well. Maybe teach is the wrong word, but help to, I think teach maybe is the right word. Basically, people coming through and people who are interested, because that's the best part about being on our team, is that you can come in at any sort of level, but actually if you ask a question and are interested, everyone's going to turn around and actually explain it to you as best as they can. I think it's so helpful. I remember doing that at your dissertation, even though I didn't understand what was going on. And the one that always makes me laugh was like, when turbo speed was like banging both limits of the graph, and we were like, yeah, it's always like that. And then like, I got to M-Sport, it's like one nice line trace, I'm like, oh yeah, that sensor's definitely buggered. Stuff like that always makes me giggle sometimes. It's just like, I was so clueless sometimes, weren't we? It's the best part about it. You must have that a few times as well at EDSL.
Yeah. It's nice having like cars come in where actually everything is running as it should be.
And then you get a nice big old light bulb moment and you're like, ah!
And it's nice to see, because we don't just run the Fiestas, seeing it for other vehicles as well. And that with other vehicles you also need different software. So actually getting used to using different software has been quite valuable for me.
So what do they run on? Obviously the Fiestas are live.
Yeah, Fiestas are live. For the Citroen C3, the Ready 2, that is WinTax 4 and Seisma. So Seisma is what you use to like program the ECU, the mapping and things like that, and update the map files and stuff. And then you've got WinTax is where you download the data and view the data. And that was quite to go from never using it before to needing we need to get data off this car, we need to do this thing. It's quite a learning experience of, well, I know all the buttons in life racing, I know exactly what I'm doing, but when it comes to that, it's like, okay.
It's almost like,
in the end it's becomes intuitive enough. You know, it's all, icons are universal, aren't they? It's just finding where they are.
I always sometimes find it's a bit like I'm not very good at languages, definitely not. But I always find like sometimes when you first look at a different software, like I remember I pretty much only looked at Life, and then I think the next one I saw was Bosch, and you're just like, oh my god, this feels like a completely different system.
Yeah.
But then when you slow down and realise how it's all segregated, it's the same stuff just laid out differently. And you almost translate, I suppose.
Absolutely. And like all the graph lines are different colours now, and they're all in different places, and you know the whole layout's completely different. But you know, you do get that.
Well, that's one thing that's quite funny. It's often like if you look at different, obviously you're used to your own colours and your own lines, and then you go look at somebody else and you're like, hang on, why is that like that? And then you're like, oh, it's just wrong colours, and you're like, oh. It's quite funny.
Well, I do on the cross cars. Those dash units have accelerometers and gyroscopes in them as well.
That's quite cool.
So when the cars go out and do the rallycross, you can see their GPS path around tracks, so you can map them around tracks. And so all the stuff we were doing for the lap acceleration and like that, if we just have one of them dashes, we wouldn't need the Houdini, we wouldn't need any other things. You know, it's quite remarkable. I think that's what's quite exciting about working in rally motorsport. In that, whilst yes, you do have your main role, you need to be involved with everything. So it's even coming down to packing the vans and setting up service and everything. There's just so much extra to it other than your main role. And I find all of that quite enjoyable.
So do you get that a lot with EDSL, with other buggies, for example, the same sort of similar layout to when you're out running a car, or does it give you different, how many different aspects, I suppose, do you get?
Yeah, I mean, it is different. Obviously, you need different parts for every different car you're taking, different boxes, different things you sort through, and depending on what cars, how many cars are we taking, what trailers do we need, what vans do we need, who can drive which van, and all the logistics behind that is quite exciting.
Is the structure, is your like weekend structure similar, or do you find you have to take a different structure, I suppose, when you're running the buggies? Because the buggies still a full weekend, or are they normally day events?
Yeah, generally full weekend. And sometimes we just do day testing as well. So some might just in one day we'll pack, go and come back.
It's nice as well.
Yeah, other things are like really long weekends. But Belgian runners have been really good.
Yeah, I bet that's quite good fun.
Yeah, that was really cool. I think probably one of the highlights from that was EDSL's Mark II Escort, like period correct. I was driving that around Belgium.
Oh, that's wicked.
The red cat starts at 4,000 kind of thing, and if you don't give it something, she doesn't like it.
Yeah, she wants to
be
be
like, how have I ended up doing this? You know, that's another important thing for our customers on events. We want a nice place for them to sit.
Yeah.
So in they're portioned off, so the back section of the van is all made with racking in it to put our Euro crates and all tents and all sorts of tyre racking and everything on the back. And then in the middle we've got a really nice seating area with kettle and coffee machine and microwaves and fridges and stuff.
Properly decked out.
Yeah, it's nice. But it's a
rallying class.
Yeah, for experience for the customer, it's really, have that luxury.
Have you been anywhere else with the ESL, like obviously not in the UK, that's international, I suppose?
Only Belgium, but various places around Belgium.
Yeah, that's quite cool.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been there long, but yeah, I'm sure we'll be going to places.
Quite cool. Over in Ireland, I like Ireland. It's good fun over there. Yeah. It never rains as much as people say as well. I disagree with this. Everyone says it rains loads in Ireland. Every time I've been to Ireland for a rally, it's like Ulster absolutely bucketed it down. That's fair. And all the other times we've been, it's sort of been like light rain. It's never like that bad. Maybe I just need to spend more time over there, but maybe I just bring the good weather. I really want to improve my understanding around engine management systems and preemptively finding failures. I think that's one thing we can improve on as a team, which I know is something we noted down after the Downs rally. And hopefully when we do testing we can get in. I want to start doing like run-ups, even if it's on stands, just going through the gears like before we even leave, so you've got something to look at beforehand, because I think going to an event without that knowledge that you may have like a turbo gone or something, that's just a risk that there's no point in taking, because you can eliminate that immediately. And that's something I want to try and introduce and bring the team with me. I also want to understand, I suppose it's not just rallying related, I suppose this is more just me. But along with understanding ECU stuff for rallying, I also want to look more into diesel engine stuff, because that's something that I've been around a lot of my life, but actually don't understand as well as petrol engines. And the hydrogen engines is also an interesting thing. I'm not going to get into that because I'm probably going on a massive rant. But I think exploring more engine options is interesting, and then also understanding. I want to improve my knowledge around the chassis side of things, and I know we were talking last night about how to strengthen the subframe of my car and that sort of stuff. I find interesting purely because I don't fully understand it yet. So that'd be quite interesting, and hopefully I can do some work with that around my dissertation and try and link some of those bits in so I can improve and give myself the time as well for that. That's sort of where I'm at. What about you?
Yeah, I'll improve on existing skills that I do have, with it being able to apply a bit more context to them. I think one thing you just mentioned there about getting baseline data that I would find very valuable, especially working with you actually.
Sure you want to work with me? I can be quite noisy. Yeah, go on. You were saying like baseline data.
It's more, whilst I've built up my own understanding of, you know, say quickly get that data off and think, and I've got, okay, I'll check through the fuel system, I'll check through the boost system, I'll check through this, I'll check through that, and I've got it all laid out so I can, and I'm looking at what I have learned to be what is correct, but I really want to get like I quite often send off emails to support of, I really want to understand, is this happening because of this?
Yeah.
What is causing this? I think it's because of this based on these things, but please can you confirm? And it's quite difficult to get proper tuition and like that from support.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Because generally it's okay, it's not okay.
Yeah. No, I get that.
So being able to get a better understanding of that, of the baseline of actually how should that car specifically be behaving, would be really useful.
I think actually on that, mainly because I think of it and I want to say it because otherwise I forget it, and there's more than just me in the room, so that sort of works. But some of those systems to check that I've gained from my experiences, like charge checking, I noticed is something actually that we don't do, which I think we definitely should, because we seem to have boost pipe issues the whole time. So maybe even charge checking the car before an event and after scrutineering, that sort of stuff, just so we are prepared. I know from being in garages with teams, it's sometimes like, oh yeah, the car's always ran like that, but then you're looking at the data and you're like, okay, it may have always ran like that. That doesn't quite mean it's right. And so that often trying to bring the team with you, just because it's running like that, you don't actually mean it's okay. I find that's quite an interesting thing. Yeah, trying to find true baseline data, I think, is fantastic.
Yeah, and someone with the experience that just knows exactly how it should be.
Got a lot coming in the next year then, don't we?
Yeah.
We're going to be busy. Good. Sweet.